Hello my lovely students, you're welcome to a new lesson. Today, I shall be teaching you circle geometry. From definition, geometry is the study of the properties of shapes. That makes circle geometry the study of the properties of a circle or circular shape. A circle is a round plane shape which consists of the following parts. A circle has the center, circumference, chord, diameter, radius, arc, segment, sector, and semicircle. Let's learn more about circle geometry. Looking at circle theorems. From definition, a theorem is a mathematical rule or proposition that can be proved by a method of argument or reasoning. Some of the circle theorems that we are going to be discussing today are as follows. Number 1, the midpoint of a chord. Number 2, angles in a circle. Number 3, angles in the same segment. Number 4, angles in a semicircle. While number 5, cyclic quadrilaterals. Let's learn about these circle theorems. Looking at circle theorem number 1, the midpoint of a chord. From the statement, a straight line drawn from the center of a circle to the middle point of a chord to bisect a chord which is not a diameter is at right angle which is 90 degrees to the chord. Some of the formulas associated with the theorem number 1, midpoint of a chord, are as follows. Number 1, the angle AMO is equal to the angle BMO, which is a right angle 90 degrees from the diagram. Number 2, the formula for the distance of the midpoint of a chord from the center of the circle. The formula is D equal to the square root of R squared minus, in bracket, L divided by 2 all squared. Number 3, formula. The formula for the length of a chord. We have two formulas here. The first is L equal to 2 times the square root of R squared minus D squared. Also, we have another formula for the length of the chord L equal to 2R sine theta divided by 2. Here theta represents the angle at the center of the circle. The fourth formula for the radius of a circle R equal to the square root of D squared plus, in bracket, L divided by 2 squared. Here D represents the distance of the midpoint of the chord from the center of the circle, L represents the length of the chord, while R represents the radius of the circle. Please take note of these formulas. Circle theorem number 2, angles in a circle. From the statement, the angle that an arc of a circle subtends at the center is twice the angle which the arc subtends at any point on the remaining part of the circumference. Some formulas attached to theorem number 2 are as follows. Number 1 formula, the angle AOB is equal to 2 times the angle APB. Number 2 formula, the angle APB is equal to half of the angle AOB, which is angle AOB divided by 2. Here the angle APB is an acute angle and the angle AOB is either an acute or an obtuse angle. Formula number 3, the angle AOB is equal to 2 times the angle AQB. While formula number 4, the angle AQB is equal to half of the angle AOB, which is angle AOB divided by 2. Here the angle AQB is an obtuse angle and the angle AOB is a reflex angle. Moving on to circle theorem number 3, angles in the same segment. From the statement, angles in the same segment of a circle are equal. The formula for theorem number 3 is as follows. From the diagram, angle x1 is equal to angle x2, while angle x3 is equal to angle x4, because these are all angles in the same segment. Circle theorem number 4, angles in a semicircle. From the statement, the angle in a semicircle is a right angle which is 90 degrees. The formula attached to theorem 4 is as follows. If the angle AOB is a straight line, that makes line AB the diameter of the circle with center O. From the diagram, the angle APB is a right angle which is 90 degrees because it is an angle in a semicircle. Looking at circle theorem number 5, cyclic quadrilaterals. From definition, a cyclic quadrilateral is a quadrilateral. That means a four-sided polygon that has all its 4 vertices on the circumference of a circle. Looking at the statement for cyclic quadrilaterals. The first statement says the opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral or angles in opposite segments are supplementary. That means they add up to 180 degrees. From the second statement, the exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to the interior opposite angle. For some formulas attached to theorem 5 cyclic quadrilaterals, from the diagram here, we have ABCD being a cyclic quadrilateral and the line BC is extended to point E. The first formula we can derive from this diagram is that the opposite angles, angle A plus angle C, they are supplementary, which will add up to 180 degrees. Second formula is the opposite angles, again angle B and angle D, they are supplementary, which will add up to 180 degrees. While the third formula says the exterior angle at E is equal to the interior opposite angle, which is A. Angle E equals angle A. Please take note of these theorems and their formulas. Moving on, let's see some solved examples. Questions on the midpoint of a chord. Example 1. A chord of a circle is 12 centimeters long. The radius of the circle is 10 centimeters. Calculate the distance of the midpoint of the chord from the center of the circle. Can you still remember the formula for the distance of the midpoint of a chord from the center of the circle? Let's see if you can still remember. Solution to question 1 is as follows. The formula required here for the distance of the midpoint of the chord from the center of the circle, the formula is d equal to the square root of r squared minus, in bracket, l divided by 2 squared. In this question, the length of the chord is 12 centimeters, representing L. The radius of the circle R is 10 centimeters. When you substitute these values into your formula and you calculate the distance of the midpoint of the chord from the center of the circle in question 1, the distance is 8 centimeters. I hope you got that right. Looking at our second question, still on a question from the midpoint of a chord. Example 2. Calculate the length of a chord in a circle of radius 26 centimeters if the chord is 10 centimeters from the center of the circle. Once again, can you remember the formula for the length of a chord of a circle? Let's see if you can still remember. From the solution to question 2, the formula required here is L equal to 2 times the square root of r squared minus d squared. In this question, the radius of the circle R is 26 centimeters. The distance of the chord from the center of the circle D is 10 centimeters. Substituting these values into your formula and calculating, the length of the chord in question 2 is 48 centimeters. Moving on to our third question, still on the midpoint of a chord. Example 3. A chord of a circle is 32 centimeters long. If the distance of the chord from the center of the circle is 12 centimeters, calculate the radius of the circle. Now, can you still remember the formula for the radius of a circle? Let's see if you can still remember. The solution to question 3 is as follows. The formula for the radius of a circle R is equal to the square root of d squared plus, in bracket, L divided by 2 squared. Here, L represented the length of the chord, being 32 centimeters. D represents the distance of the chord from the center of the circle, which is 12 centimeters. Substituting these values into your formula and calculating, the radius of the circle is 20 centimeters. I hope you got that right. Moving on, let's take a question on angles in a circle. Example 4. If point O is the center of each circle below, find the lettered angle. Now, can you still remember the theorem involving angles in a circle? Let's see if you can still remember. From the solution, for question A, we are looking for an angle at the center of the circle, which is angle Q. From the solution, angle Q, being the angle at the center of the circle, should be twice the angle at the circumference, which is 2 times 41 degrees. Angle Q is 82 degrees, because the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. Also, in question B, we are looking for an angle R. An angle R, which is an angle at the circumference of the circle, should be half of the angle at the center of the circle. That makes angle R to be 106 degrees divided by 2. Angle R should be 53 degrees. I hope this idea is clear to you. Moving on, let's take on a question on angles in the same segment. Example 5. Find the angles marked by letters in the diagram below. Once again, can you still remember the theorem involving angles in the same segment? Let's see if you can still remember. The solution to question 5 is as follows. Firstly, from the diagram, the angle A is 40 degrees because it's an angle in the same segment as the other 40 degrees. Also, angle B is also 40 degrees because it is also an angle in the same segment as the 40 degrees. We have angle C remaining. What do you think would be the value of the angle at C? Let's see if you got that right. From the solution, the angle at C should be 32 degrees because it's an angle in the same segment as the other 32 degrees in the diagram. I hope you got that question right. Moving on, let's take a question on angles in a semicircle. Example 6. Find the marked or lettered angles in the diagram below, where point O is the center of the circle. Now, can you still remember the theorem involving angles in a semicircle? Let's see if you can still remember. Solution to question 6a. From the diagram, there's a marked angle in the triangle in the diagram. Let the marked angle be angle N. So the marked angle N plus 58 degrees plus 90 degrees should make a total of 180 degrees. This being the angle in a semicircle, which is 90 degrees, and also the sum of angles in a triangle, which should sum up to 180 degrees. Putting your calculation together, N plus 148 degrees should be equal to 180 degrees. N being 180 degrees minus 148 degrees, that makes N to be 32 degrees. That means the marked angle in question 6a is 32 degrees. Looking at the solution for question 6b, we have three lettered angles here, angles F, G, and H. From the solution, angle F is 90 degrees because it is an angle in a semicircle. To find angle G plus angle F plus 56 degrees should be equal to 180 degrees. These are the sum of the angles in a triangle. Summing up, angle G plus angle F, which is 90 degrees, plus angle 56 degrees should make up 180 degrees. Calculating and making G the subject of that equation, angle G should be 34 degrees. Lastly, angle H should be 56 degrees because it is an alternate angle to the other 56 degrees in the triangle, considering the parallel lines. I hope the answers to question 6b, they are clear to you. Moving on to our last question on cyclic quadrilaterals. Example 7. Calculate the sizes of the lettered angles in the diagram below. Give reasons for your answers. Once again, can you still remember the circle theorem involving cyclic quadrilaterals? Let's see if you can still remember. Let's see the solution to question 7. From the solution, the angle x plus angle 102 degrees should add up to 180 degrees because these are opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral. And opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral should be supplementary. That means adding up to 180 degrees. Solving for x, x is 78 degrees. To solve for y, from the diagram, we can see that angle y and angle 81 degrees, they are angles on a straight line. That means angle y plus angle 81 degrees should be equal to 180 degrees. Angles on a straight line. Solving for angle y, we are going to have angle y to be 99 degrees. Lastly, we have angle r to solve for. Can you tell the answer for angle r? Let's see if you are right. Looking at the diagram, r should be 81 degrees. 81 degrees in the diagram is the exterior angle, and it should be equal to the interior opposite angle, which is r. That makes r to be equal to 81 degrees. I hope the solution to example 7 they are clear to you. Thank you very much for going through the lesson today. I want to advise that for you to get more information about the topic circle geometry, continue to read your textbook. Don't forget to attempt your quiz and your assignments. I hope to see you again in our next class. Until then, it is goodbye for now. Thank you very much.